Shanegotyou11, and welcome to another West Coast Madden Podcast. Here with me, as always, is Trey.
Hey, how's it going, guys? We are back here again with the West Coast Madden Podcast. Hope you guys have had a good week so far. We are going to get into the NFL. Obviously, we had the conference championship games going on. We had one blowout game, and the Titans. The Titans fought. They fought pretty hard against the Chiefs, but ended up losing in a heartbreaking way. So yeah. So the random question of the day is, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? And how do you think your team is going to do in the following season? What would you like to see your team do as far as trades and draft choices and stuff like that? But with that being said, we're going to move into the salary cap news because it did get changed. I'm going to let Shane take over, and he wanted to give his opinion on it, so I'm going to throw it back over to him.
All right, thanks, Trey. Hey, welcome everybody to the West Coast Madden Podcast, like Trey said. Appreciate you guys being in here like always. So they increased, starting Monday, which is January 27th, they are increasing the salary cap from $950 to $1325. That is almost unheard of, you guys. It's never happened before, this big of an increase. But they are polling players and pro players on what they wanted on Twitter. I believe there was like 4,000 votes and something like that, maybe less, but they voted for over 1,300, so they're starting off at 1,325. And the thing is, it's getting to the point where it's going to be pay to play. I mean, if you're making it 1,300, you're going to have to spend coin, and like Trey and I talked about, you'd probably be stealing people's credit cards and all that stuff pretty soon. They're making it that dangerous. Like, the mom's gonna be like, "Yo, what's going on here? It's $100." But anyways, they increased a lot of stuff, you guys, in the abilities. They increased secure tackler from 8 cap to 10 cap. They increased tackle supreme from 12 to 14 cap. They increased dashing deadeye from 20 to 40. No-look deadeye from 20 to 35. They increased fast break from 25 cap to 60. They increased hot route master escape artist by 10. They decreased focus kicker and pin and pull guru. And also spin cycle and grab and go. Route apprentice, they increased from 45 to 65. Enforcer, they increased from 30 to 35. QB player maker, they increased from 110 to 125. And then roaming deadeye, they increased from 35 to 65. So honestly, you guys, even though it says 1325, it is more like 1250 without all the increases in the abilities, because like Trey, like it said, they had increases of like 30, 20, 25 for normal ones, so that'll make a big difference. But I mean, it makes it kind of exciting that you can have more players, but like I said, it's also a little scary because people who want to compete, if they're going to make it this high, it's going to make it really, really hard for people to compete unless they spend a bunch of money, and some people don't have a lot of money, and this is like a gambling fix. So, I mean, what are your thoughts, Trey, on this?
Yeah. So I mean, so this is kind of my first experience with the whole, trying to compete, trying to get into mud. I've been in mud in the past, but never really got that deep into it. So, but I mean, the way the cap is set right now, I think it's a little bit too high, but I think it's not nothing too crazy. I think it's a little bit too high, but I think it's about right. And I mean, as far as like, how they're increasing the abilities for quarterbacks now. I mean, I don't understand why they would do that because people. I would imagine most people. Excuse me. I would imagine most people would complain about jukebox and the running abilities being changed, and it doesn't look like they did anything to jukebox and things of that nature. So that's a little bit interesting, but
Yeah, it's definitely a little weird, Trey, because run game is a little OP this year. I agree. I mean, I don't think it's so horrible where like, oh my gosh, but it's a little OP. It's a little bit easier to run than in last year's Madden game, but like next year's Madden game will be easy on the passing. But yeah, they didn't touch the run game at all. So I think their fear was getting like a 99 Michael Vick or a 99 Lamar Jackson and putting, like fast break on, dashing Deadeye, no look Deadeye, escape artist, and you know what I mean, and putting like 150 cap basically on the QB, and then they don't even need an offensive line. So I think that was their fear, and that's what they're trying to cover. But you still have a lot of cap because they don't make the game real enough, so they're going to leave. They're going to still lead their offensive line like low 70s to mid 70s. A lot of the top players are going to do that, and then they're still going to have enough cap to make your QB be all worldly.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, so it's going to be kind of interesting going forward. What was the cap for the club series, if you remember?
950.
Okay, so it was 950 back then, but you didn't really have like too high of a cards back when that tournament was going on, so
No,
that's
and
why they increased it.
and last year it was I believe 840 to start the year, and
Yeah.
then they gradually increased it. But I mean, this one 1325 is a lot, and I know they said we're gonna see what it looks like, we're gonna see how it plays, we're gonna get feedback, and then on February 28th we're gonna either increase or decrease or keep it the same. My only fear is they'll listen to the pro players, and the pro players usually have all the cards they need, and it'll increase to like 1450, and then it won't be fear, it won't or not fear, it won't be fair. So how much is too much, Trey? Because in my like, how much is too much? Is it become unlimited? But eventually, you see how annoying that is when you play weekend league.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt, and I think it's going to be good because I mean, for people that they don't really, they're not participating in the tournament, but maybe they don't have a good ultimate team, but they can play salary cap. And salary cap, I believe salary cap rewards are pretty decent. So maybe we'll see more people get into salary cap and improving their team that way. So, but I mean, it has to be a tough job to whoever. Well, I guess it would be EA or whoever's in charge of setting the cap limit, because you already know that there really is no definitive right answer, because if you set it up too low, people are going to complain, but if you set it up too high, then people would complain. So I think it's also kind of a lose-lose situation for them, because people are going to complain regardless. So
Yeah, I fully agree. Hey Trey, quick question. Are you using your old microphone or your new one?
no, I'm using the new one. Is there
Okay,
an
because they're
echo?
saying we're echoing bad right now.
Huh.
So I have no idea. I don't know what you want to
I,
do.
yeah, I don't know what that is, because I'm using I'm using the headset. I'm not using the USB one. So,
Or yeah,
but
okay, not the Bluetooth, the USB one.
yeah, I'm using
Yeah,
USB.
I can hear it a little bit. I don't know what to do to fix it with us.
Yeah, I don't.
But anyways,
Yeah, yeah. But no, I think that at least from my opinion, I think it's a little bit too high. But I mean, it's nothing too crazy. I think for me, like if it was too high, I think it would be around 1700 is a little too high, and then too low for me would probably be like um 940. What about you though? Like what's too high of a cap and what's too low?
I think 840 was too low last year. Um, but I think you're just gonna have the same problem over and over unless you make the game realistic, in my opinion, because if people don't have to worry about an offensive line, or they just put fast linebackers everywhere, and it doesn't matter their overall cap, it just matters what their speed is. Then they're gonna put 99s everywhere, anyways. So it doesn't matter. But for me, too low is probably in the 800s, and too high is probably in the 1300s, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. So, so I mean, yeah, this salary cap, I think it's a good mode. Um, now, what would you do? I mean, if you were in charge of like the abilities portion, um, what abilities like would you make certain amount of cap, and you know, like as far as like jukebox and all of that, like what cap would you put those kind of abilities at?
You know what? I'm not a big fan of abilities at all, but some aren't bad.
Right. Right.
But you know what? On fast break, like all the QB abilities, I would definitely make it be really high, like 70 or 80 cap for each one. And then for the jukebox, I'd probably make it 65, 70 because I think it's a little OP. And I think bulldozer would be like 100. But secure tackler, I'm cool with. Make it 8 or 10 like they did it. That's perfectly fine. Enforcer, I'd make it like 50 or 60 cap too, because they just click off, or even if they don't click off, it's such a big deal. So I mean, I'd probably make Enforcer 60, but like the QB stuff would be 80 plus. The running backs, the jukebox would be high. I mean, that's just my opinion. What about you, Trey?
Yeah, I think it's about right. I think that secure tackler, I don't, even though it's 10, which it's not really that big of a difference, but I'd like to see it more at the 8 mark. Um, but I mean everything else, I'm cool with. Um, I mean, I definitely want to try the playmaker ability. Um, what's the cap for that?
I think it went
Do
up
you
to
know?
125.
Yeah, yeah, I don't. Yeah, if it's that high, then I don't know if anyone's gonna
Well, I,
want
I
any
think
of
it's
that.
because
But
people were saying, here, I'm going to check it. Yeah, 125. I think it's because people were saying playmaker, people were just abusing it. Just kind of like joystick,
yeah, yeah,
the joystick ability. But I didn't see the joystick ability on here, so I don't know exactly what they can and can't do for that, for the joystick.
yeah, for sure. So, so I mean, if you guys haven't been checking up, Shane has a new series on his channel called the Madden Series. He is currently at 2 episodes. Definitely go and check that out if you haven't. It's some good ideas. It's definitely cool to see people on YouTube because I feel like if you're gonna do YouTube, you could do something, but if you try to like think of ideas outside the box, I think that's where you make your money in that sort of a thing. So definitely go and check that out if you haven't. But
Yep, go ahead.
oh, go
Oh, I was just
ahead.
gonna say, yeah, the Madden docu series basically is trying to get a broader audience, and I thought it'd be a little bit cool, break it down with is the Madden curse real? That was episode 1. Episode 2 was basically the breakdown of Super Bowl 54. I got a good one on episode 3. It'll be premiering after the Super Bowl. I I just
Yeah.
I just wanted to expand and try to get this YouTube channel to just a little bit broader audience. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Trey.
Yeah, for sure. And that's another thing too, because like, and I appreciate the people that are, in the stream, even if you're not, here consistently, if you just pop in and out because Shane and I, we're in parties, a lot of the time, and we would brainstorm ideas about, how we're going to be able to, make this channel be bigger, and and I think that both of us we're not, because I think both of us eventually would like to branch out and do some different things as far as YouTube goes, and not just be doing tips and that sort of a thing. So, but I think both of us kind of have an ambition to you know do some good and better things with this YouTube channel for sure. But
Yeah, definitely expand this little business we got going on here. It is definitely the goal, and hopefully we can get that going through everybody who helps out and all that stuff as well.
yeah, so and that's another thing, because I know that you first started YouTube kind of, it was kind of back when you would just you would just mainly just post games, against like pro people that you played on Gamer Saloon. But I mean, at what point did you did you start YouTube and think that you kind of wanted to get some subscribers and kind of try to go that route, or was it like when you first started kind of just for fun, really?
Well, Madden 16, I was really trying to like put tips out, but I didn't really do it like the 4x4 rule. The 4x4 rule is basically pick the same day every week, do it 4 times in a
Yeah.
month. So I didn't follow through that way. I was sporadic. I mean, people on GamerSoon made fun of me for even posting stuff on YouTube. They said that would never work out. Well, you see every pro doing it now, passing me
Right.
by because they're obviously better. They obviously made the tournaments. But I kind of got serious roughly last year, and I think once I hit like 700 subs last Christmas or around that time in December, I was like, okay, there might be a chance. the The audience is like, we're starting to build an audience. People are starting to enjoy hanging around and talking with us, and and now we're at 1917. Unfortunately, it'll probably slow down between the spring and summer, but pick back up in the fall. But hopefully, we can build this where it's really big, and really big means good things for the subscribers as well, in the sense of better payouts, bigger giveaways. And I just want to break something off real quick. Dave was our second winner on the December giveaway, and I totally got scammed, and I screwed up. I was too trusting, so I apologize to Dave on that. But future giveaways, if I do it, which I probably will, I'm gonna just have you guys leave your emails that you want to get paid at on the comment section, and then I'll delete them right after the contest ends, so that way there will be no more scamming, there will be no more issues.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be good. Maybe when we get this channel expanded, maybe we could get some guest appearances on the podcast. Some other Madden YouTubers and streamers and things of that nature. So
I definitely talked to a few of them, and a couple
yeah,
said they would be on here, but I mean, I think it's better this year right now to try to build up the brand ourselves.
yeah, for sure.
And it will
I agree.
definitely help out maybe in the near future. Like I said, a few of them wanted to be on it. And so it'd be cool to have a little bit difference, and we might have a spot guest here and there. We'll see how it works out.
Right, for sure. So I kind of thought of this idea a few weeks ago. Um, didn't really get around to doing it, but I thought that this might be something fun that we could do. And basically what that is we go through every NFL team and we say, who was their best player in their history. Um, so Shane, are you down to, maybe have this debate?
Yeah, I'll definitely go down with it. I mean, I might not know
Yeah.
some teams, so,
Yeah, that's true.
but I'll definitely be down to do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry for my phone in the background, by the way, but all right. So let's start off with the Chicago Bears. I think Walter Payton is probably the best there. What do you say?
Yeah, I'll agree with Sweetness on that.
Yeah. The Cincinnati Bengals. Um, Ocho Cinco maybe.
I'm gonna say Icky Woods.
Okay, is he
And
an older player?
yeah, he's back in the day, the Icky Shuffle, man.
Okay.
I'm going to say that because he also led them to the Super Bowl versus the 49ers. So Ocho Cinco didn't do that. So I'm putting a little bit of weight on what they did in their career for that team. And I know it's not fair, but it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, the Buffalo Bills. Jim Kelly probably.
I'll agree with Jim Kelly on
Yeah.
that.
The Denver Broncos. John Elway, probably a no-brainer there. Right.
Yeah, I'll agree with John Elway. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry with certain teams.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could argue Peyton Manning too, but I think
He
Peyton
wasn't
Manning
there long
more.
enough.
Yeah, he was more on the Colts than anything. So, the Cleveland Browns.
Jim
I
Brown.
don't. Oh yeah, Jim Brown. I forgot about Jim Brown. Yep, that's no doubt there. The Tampa Bay Bucks. Derek Brooks, possibly.
What about Barber? What about Warren Sapp?
Warren Sapp, Mike Allstott was a good fullback for that team back in the day. So,
Yeah, I mean it's pretty tough. I mean I would probably go with Barber. I think it was Rondé Barber.
okay. Yeah. The Arizona Cardinals. I'm
Hmm.
gonna say I'm gonna go with Fitz on this one.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I forgot about Fitzgerald until you said that. Yeah. Fitzgerald,
Yeah.
13 years or something in the
Yeah,
league.
he also made the NFL 100 team, which I think is well deserved. So yeah. the San Diego. I don't know why I said I don't know why I said San Diego Chargers when they're in LA now, but Rivers Rivers is good. I think Philip Rivers is definitely underrated. You know, he's always been kind of solid, but I gotta go with LT here for the Chargers.
You know, I'm gonna go with Antonio Gates.
Oh, you're gonna go with Gates.
Longevity, and he put up some hella good numbers. I know LT was really good, but I don't think he had the longevity of Antonio Gates.
All right. Let me ask you this: Do you think that Gronk? Do you think that Gronk's better than Antonio Gates?
No.
What? Okay.
No, because I'm going off longevity, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going off longevity. Just because you're great in 5 years, for 5 years or 6 years, doesn't mean it. Now, I'll definitely have to go on and look at the stats because I could be totally wrong. Hey, everybody in the chat, go ahead and put your picks out there. Every team we go on, throw it out there who you think the favorite player is and or the best player, and I'll bring it up because I'm reading the screen too. This is a little bit of a
Yeah.
cool idea by Trey. So for the Chargers, I really have Antonio Gates, and I think he's better than Gronkowski.
All right. I respect that opinion. I think that might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but I definitely kind of get where you're coming from with
Hold
you
on,
know, his
hold on.
longevity.
Let me look at the stats, bro. I'm either gonna be like everybody's gonna be like, "Wow, you're dumb," or it's gonna be smart. Antonio Gates stats. Okay. Let's see. 11,000 yards total, 116 touchdowns, 8 Pro Bowls. He played it for 15 years. Okay, so let's remember that 11,841 yards, 116 touchdowns. Let's do Rob Grunk. Oh man, I spelled it wrong. Rob. It's not even close. Antonio Gates almost has double the yards and 40 more touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, and then also Gronk was hurt. A lot of the times he was playing, so I mean, I definitely get that. But so the next one is the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think Tony Gonzalez probably would be the Chiefs for me. What about you?
Joe Montana.
Joe Montana, you played there 1 year.
Yeah, I'll go with Tony Gonzalez.
All right. The Indianapolis Colts.
Well,
Peyton Manning.
I'm sure we're on everything.
Yeah, they have some good players though. I mean, you could talk about Dallas Clark, you know, Dwight Freeney, Marvin Harrison, all good players, but Peyton Manning definitely was the best. The Dallas Cowboys. Okay, I'm gonna let because I hope that me and you both have the same opinion about this, and I really hope that you don't say the person that I'm thinking of, but I got Dion as the best for the Cowboys.
I got Emmett Smith.
What?
Yeah.
Eh,
Bro, Deion
eh,
Sanders played like 1 year or 2 years with the Cowboys, I believe. Maybe two? You got Emmett Smith who played with them for 10 plus years, bro. I'm going Emmett Smith all the way, and then Troy Aikman, number two. And that's just for right now. I mean, you could go back. What about Roger Staubach? What
yeah,
about Tony Dorsett? Dallas Cowboys have a lot of rich history, though.
yeah. I don't know. I think that if you put like any really just any running back behind the Dallas Cowboys offensive linemen back then, I think they would have been like they would have been like up there. But
I agree on that. I agree on
yeah,
that. I mean, a lot of things are basically off of offensive lines make everything go. Like in my opinion, I think Sean Alexander wouldn't have been as good as Marshawn if Marshawn Lynch had um, the offensive line the Seahawks did in '05, Marshawn Lynch would have broke every kind of record out there.
yeah, for sure. All right, so the Miami Dolphins, I think that's pretty easy. I think it's Dan Marino for that one.
I agree too. Dan Marino was one of the best quarterbacks of all time that didn't
Yeah.
win a Super Bowl, and just one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Anyways, I mean, he was setting records in 1984 when the game was way harder on the offense, way harder to pass the ball. You could
Did
grab,
you?
pull, choke out everybody basically, and nowadays you can pass with a little bit with way more ease than in 1984.
Yeah, and I think did you see that Dan Marino's last game? He got like blown out by the Jaguars. I think it was like 50-3 or something like that. But yeah, overall he definitely had a very solid career. But
I
that
mean,
was
I mean, when you hit a wall, you hit a wall. Little Red, yeah, Derek Thomas was really good for the Chiefs. Really, really good player. I remember that because the Seahawks were in the AFC West.
yeah. All right, so the Philadelphia Eagles. I
Wow, this is a tough one for me.
Yeah, that's a tough one, really. Um, I kind of want to say Terrell Owens. I to be honest, I don't really know who the players that were kind of before him on the Eagles. I think they had some good ones, but out of the ones that I've seen, I think Terrell Owens probably.
I got two players, and they're a little bit before your time. One
Yeah.
wasn't, but one definitely was. I got Reggie White and Brian Dawkins.
Oh yeah, Brian Dawkins. Reggie White, yeah, Reggie White probably the best on the Eagles. I would say I forgot about him. Brian Dawkins he was kind of overrated. I never really got into Brian Dawkins, and I don't know why, but I just never really got into him. I thought he was a little bit overrated. But so the Atlanta Falcons.
Who do you
Hmm.
got on that one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with one person. You already said his name.
Oh, Dion for
I'm
the
gonna go with
for the
Deion
Falcons.
Sanders on this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I would probably pick him too then, since you're. But since I said Dion, I don't know. I think Julio might be up there. I think Julio's kind of, and it's not just because I'm younger, but I feel like Julio's a generational talent. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no. He's
Yeah.
definitely up there. He's definitely up there. But I just feel like Deion Sanders changed the culture and was like just amazing. You know who could have been probably the best Falcon of all time if he would have kept his head on straight and wouldn't have just kind of been a dummy? Michael
Vic.
Vick.
Yeah.
He could have easily
Yeah.
been hands down the best.
Yeah. I agree with that too, because he was in his prime when all that stuff
He didn't
happened.
even
So.
study the playbook, bro. He just
Yeah.
uses athleticism.
So. So yeah, so hopefully Lamar Jackson will do better than Michael Vick. he seems like he's on the right path for now, but we'll see.
Yeah, Little Red is kind of on agreement with a lot of things we're saying. Like on the Eagles, she picked Reggie White and then Brian Dawkins, and for the Broncos, she picked John Elway. So I mean, a lot of it is cut and
Kind
dry.
of cut and dry. But there's some that you can debate. Now, the 49ers is pretty cut and dry, but
Is it?
they're
Is it?
I mean, it is for me. I mean, Joe Montana. Who else would you pick?
Okay. Okay, you know what? What about Jerry Rice? He did good.
Yeah.
He did good things with Steve Young. So was Jerry Rice making Joe Montana, or was Joe Montana making Jerry Rice? But in
Yeah,
the end,
that's a good point. I
I,
mean,
I'm
Jerry.
you know I'm going with Smoking Joe though. I'm going with Joe Montana. Joe
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, Mr. Undefeated in the Super Bowl, just like Eli Manning, Joe Flacco, and everyone else. But that's besides the point. Anyway, so the New York Giants. Hmm.
I got a couple.
Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor is mine for the Giants.
I got Lawrence Taylor and Frank Gifford. He's
Okay.
he's
Yeah.
way back in the day, but he did a lot of good things for the New York Giants in that time. And actually, I'm also gonna shout out my aunt's dad who played for the New York Giants back in the 1930s. So I'm gonna give a shout out to
That's.
him too.
That's a while ago. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jalen Ramsey in his prime was something special. I feel like Ramsey kind of led that team back when they made the AFC Championship run, which, shout out to my brother. If you're interested, he has a YouTube channel. His name is Treeb, Treeb Talks. He has a YouTube channel where he talks about Jacksonville Jaguar related football, so thought I would give him a quick little plug there. But there was a receiver they had back in the day, and I don't know why I'm kind of struggling to remember what his name was, but I would probably pick Ramsey for the
Was
Jags.
it? Yeah. Here, I already know who I'm gonna go with. I'm going with Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah, Maurice Jones-Drew was good. He was definitely good, but I think Ramsey kind of runs
Ramsey.
laps
Okay, so
around him.
Little Red kind of agrees on the 49ers. Joe Montana or Jerry Rice, who made who the best. Jaguars, she put up Mark Brunell or Tony Boselli, but she also agreed with Maurice Jones-Drew. It's pretty crazy because Jacksonville doesn't have a huge history like other teams, though. I believe,
Yeah,
what,
no, they
1997?
yeah, they were an expansion team, I think.
Yeah,
So
I think
so
in
they did so they
1997.
yeah, so they don't really have like a whole lot of history. So all right, the New York Jets.
The good old New York Jets, Matt's favorite team.
I kind of want to go with Darrell Revis on the Jets, even though he kind of fell off big time.
They have a couple good players though, bro. Like you kind of forget about them because they're just not
It was long ago.
forefront.
Yeah,
What about Joe Namath? What about Darrell
Joe
Revis?
Namath.
So yeah, Joe Namath or
Yeah,
Darrell Revis? Joe Namath won a Super Bowl, didn't he?
yeah, but Joe Namath wasn't good. Like I don't care who I make mad, but Joe Namath wasn't good. He literally just he made a prediction saying that his team was gonna win, and somehow they win. That's literally all what Joe Namath did. So
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree 1-to-1 touchdown isn't good even back then, but I would probably go Darrelle Revis for sure. Matt, what's your input? Who's your best New York Jet of all time? I would probably say Darrelle Revis, but Joe Namath is up there for me because he still won a Super Bowl. And when you win a Super Bowl, it holds some weight.
Yeah, that's true. The Detroit Lions,
Oh,
I think they're
man. Oh, come on, bro. I already got mine for the Detroit Lions.
yeah. I think that you probably expect me to, or you're hoping that I don't pick Calvin Johnson over Barry Sanders, but I'm not going to do that. I think Barry Sanders is the GOAT for the Lions.
I got Barry Sanders, and also shout out to my aunt's friend who son played for the Lions for the longest time. I believe he did 19 years. He was Jason Hanson, the kicker. He played at WSU.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool. All right, so for the Green Bay Packers, I gotta go with Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers, I'm kind of Aaron Rodgers. I'm kind of because I think the thing with Aaron Rodgers, people either hate him or they love him. I'm kind of in the middle with Aaron Rodgers. I don't really care much about him, but I still think Brett Favre is better than he is. So
The greatest person on Green Bay Packers was Vince Lombardi.
but he was a coach.
I know, but I'm still saying he was the
Yeah.
greatest, probably, Packer of all time. But I will go with, on this one, probably Brett Favre. Yeah, Brett Favre for sure.
The Carolina Panthers. I don't know because even when they made the Super Bowl back then, they did. I don't know if they really even had any like household names. And I'm a Patriots fan, and I don't know if I could really name you like five players that were on the Panthers back when they played in the Super Bowl. So I Luke Kuechly that recently retired. And mind you, I'm a big Cam Newton fan. I love Cam Newton quite a bit actually. I know he's really inconsistent, but I mean I just like his play style and I like how big he is as a quarterback. So
I'm
I
going
don't
with
know.
Steve
That's
Smith.
okay.
Steve
Yeah,
Steve
I kind of
Smith
forgot
was a
about Steve
beast,
Smith.
bro. Like he was a
Yeah.
beast. He made average QBs be awesome.
Who's that? Didn't Julius Peppers, is that his name, play for the
Yeah,
Panthers? Or
Julius Peppers
yeah.
is up there too. But yeah, for me personally, it's Sam Smith, or not Sam Smith, Steve Smith, not the singer, Steve Smith.
Okay. The Patriots. I got Adam Vinatieri for the Patriots.
I mean, we
Yeah.
both got Brady on that one.
Yeah.
New England Patriots is Brady. Little Red said Luke Kuechly wouldn't be too bad, or Christian McCaffrey, but they haven't played long enough, which I agree. So right now it's
Yeah.
Steve Smith Senior. He was a goon, bro. Like he was so small, but man, he you know what he reminded me of? He reminded me of a damn, it's slipping my mind right now,
Yeah.
but not a Badger. What's the other one? Not a Wolverine. It's the other one. Damn, 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 damn. I can't remember it, but he reminds me of that. Small but ferocious.
Okay, so for the Raiders, I mean, Bo Jackson not only is one of the greatest running backs of all time, but I mean, probably one of the greatest all around athletes of all time. So I think Bo Jackson for the Raiders for
I'm
sure.
I'm definitely going with Bo Nose.
Yeah. The Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, I already got it from me. Eric Dickerson.
Yeah, Eric Dickerson. Yeah, I would say Eric Dickerson. I think Aaron Donald is on his way. He's not there yet, but I think he's another generational talent. So yeah. The Baltimore Ravens. I mean, I can't rate Ray Lewis. I like Ed Reed, but if you're gonna pick Ray Lewis, I think Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. I think both of them kind of played off of each other a little bit.
They
So I
go.
don't
They
know if you could.
definitely go hand to hand, bro. They definitely go
Yeah, for
hand to
sure.
hand. Like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. I mean, that's really hard to pick who's better between those two. I'm a little. It's 50-50 to me. So can we do like Ray Reed?
Yeah, we can do Ray Reed because they were kind of a package deal,
Yes, yes,
really.
I agree.
The Washington Redskins.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It could be Darryl Green, man. He ran like a 4.17 in the 40-yard dash. It could be John Riggins, who was a running back. I mean, or Sean Taylor, who was tragically, his career was cut short
Yeah.
by his death. I mean, I would put either
Rest in
Darryl
peace.
Green or
Yeah.
John Riggins and then Sean Taylor up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Um, the Saints is kind of cut and dry. I think Drew Brees takes it
Bobby
easily.
Boucher. No,
Bobby Boucher.
Drew Brees. Drew Brees definitely is the top Saint of all time.
All right, the Seattle Seahawks.
Can I group them? Can I group them? Can I do like LOB? I
Yeah,
mean,
you can. You can because I think I don't know. I think it might sound crazy, but Russell Wilson. I think he might be at the top for me.
oh, he's definitely top two or three.
Yeah.
Definitely top two or three, and I love Russell Wilson. So like Russell Wilson, LOB, Steve Largent. I mean, it's really hard. Little Red said for the Bears, she's taking Dick Butkus over Walter Payton and Mike Singletary. Which you know what, Little Red, Dick Butkus was really good back in the day. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Mike Singletary was really good too for him. I just love Sweetness, man. I still remember the VHS tapes. What you know about that, Trey?
Hey, I was like, I don't know. I was a kid and they still had VHS tapes.
Yeah, I know, but I remember
So
I
yeah,
remember popping in the greatest like runs of all time, and it'd be like
yeah.
Walter Payton. And I was a little kid, and I was
Do
just like, damn.
do you remember do you remember like they had like the football? I think it was like the football Foley's or something like that on
Yep.
VHS.
I apologize, my
Yeah,
dog's barking in the back.
yeah,
But no, yeah, I remember that, and you know, it was different football back then too, and I'm not like everybody gets caught up in the past, but it's what who we are and what we become, and then the future is cool. But like back in the day, man, Chicago Bears was so fun to watch for me. Like you had Mike Ditka as the coach, you had the Fridge, you had Walter Payton, you had Mike Singletary, you had Richard Dent, you to write on that, Little Red. I mean, they have so many just crazy players that are Hall of Famers, obviously.
All right, so moving on, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had a lot of good ones. One of the first players that I remember watching as a kid was actually Heinz Ward. was a wide receiver for the Steelers, and he was kind of one of the Steelers were kind of the first team that I kind of watched as a kid. So I'm gonna go with Bradshaw though for the Steelers, even though they had a lot of good ones. But
Damn, see, it's so hard for me. You got Bradshaw, you have Franco Harris, you have Hines Ward, you have Mean Joe Green, you have Rod Woodson, you have Lynn Swan, you have Troy Polamalu, you have Jerome Bettis. Oh, man. I am going to go with Mean Joe Green. I'm going to go with Joe Green. Little Red agrees with you, and she picked Terry Bradshaw. For the Cowboys, she said Troy Aikman or Emmitt Smith.
yeah, yeah, those are good ones. The Houston Texans, I would probably say J.J. Watt, and I think it's kind of fair because the Texans are another expansion team, so they haven't really been in the league that long. I don't really remember them being good back in,
Well, I mean, if
when
you're
they.
doing the Houston franchise, the Oilers are part of it too, then, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I guess Warren Moon probably.
Yeah, so for me,
Yeah,
honestly, it's going to be Warren Moon and Andre Rison.
yeah.
Or Andre Johnson, excuse me, not Andre Rison.
Yeah, I was trying to think of because I was like, who was that one player that got into a fight
Oh, dude,
the
I'm
Titans?
totally wrong, though, bro. The original Houston Oilers team is in Tennessee.
I was gonna say that. Like I was saying about like, weren't they the Titans
Yeah,
that
but
were the
that's tough. Like, to
Oilers?
me, they were still like the Houston Oilers when I was growing up. That's what makes it hard for me
Okay.
to think like that. So I thought of, like, Warren Moon. But I guess he's not even part of it anymore. So, eh.
But yeah, the Titans are the next team. So I mean, you could go with Warren Moon. I think that CJ2K was good. I think that Albert Hainsworth. Or was he on the Redskins? Or
He
was he
was on
on
the
the Titans?
Redskins. I got Earl
Oh, okay.
Campbell, too.
Oh, Earl Campbell. Yep. The Minnesota Vikings. Uh,
Hmm.
Moss probably right.
You got What about Adrian Peterson?
I don't think he's as good as Moss though. Because if you were to because there's a lot of running backs that are better than Adrian Peterson, but if you're talking about wide receivers, Moss is you can't you can't have like who's you can't leave Moss out of the greatest wide receiver
Right, but
group.
he only
So
played 7 seasons with them. So,
which was a majority of his career though.
well, half his career.
Yeah.
Half his career. Let's see Adrian Peterson for me. Because we're not talking about who's the best player. We're talking about who's the best player for that team. And if you're gonna go with
Yeah.
them, that's totally fine. I just he played almost 9 years with Minnesota.
Yeah, but then he played a season with the Raiders, and then he played with the Patriots for 1 year, right?
He
So,
played somewhere for 3 years, '07 to 10, and then somebody else for 2012, which I think was the 49ers.
oh yeah, he did play. Yeah, I forgot that he did play with those
Because we're not
teams.
talking like for me, I'm not talking about who's better, like who would I have on my team. I'm talking about for a team. And like Little Red said, her best player for the Browns is Jim Brown and Otto Graham, which he did win a lot of AFL championships. You are right, Little Red, on that. But I think I'm gonna go with yeah. I think oh man, that's tough. I see where you're coming from with Randy Moss, though.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, those were the 32 teams that we went in and we evaluated each player. So
Yeah, that was pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good job, Trey. I like that. I know Little Red enjoyed it. I definitely know she enjoyed it. She knows the sports history for sure. Um, yeah, that's tough though for me. Adrian Peterson or Randy Moss. Randy Moss is better, but Adrian Peterson had the longevity. Yeah. Eh. Little Red agrees with you. She picked Randy Moss.
Yeah. All right. So I guess one more topic since it is Super Bowl Sunday, but if you had to pick, I mean, you don't have to name them all, but like the Super Bowls that you watched growing up or just recently, like I'm gonna say like name your top five Super Bowls that uh like were the most fun to watch for you.
Seahawks beating the Denver Broncos by
Okay.
far number one.
Even
uh,
though it was a blowout.
even though it was a blowout, the Titans and the Rams.
Oh yeah, the 1 yard. That was the game they came up 1 yard short,
Yep.
huh?
Uh, New England and Carolina. That was a good game back in the day.
Yeah.
Let's see. Throwing me on the spot here. How many have I named? Two or three? Three. I've
yeah,
named
you named
three.
yeah, you named three so
And then I
far.
enjoyed the two Cowboy championships, even though they were kind of blowouts in the mid '90s. But it was fun because we got together with a lot of family and friends, and there was no pressure. And I just
Yeah.
remember like going to people's houses and be like, "Dang, I can drink as much pop as I want right now." Because when I was growing up, I didn't get
yeah.
unlimited drinks of what I wanted.
What was your so growing up? What was like? I guess your drinking because I don't think you really drink pop anymore, huh? Now that you're older.
Oh, I pound pop, bro.
Oh, you do.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
it's Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, and I mean,
uh,
I got Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi, but like when we used to go to restaurants, like I would get slightly embarrassed because I would ask for a refill, and my mom would be like, "How much is it?"
yeah, I hear that for sure.
And then I'd be like, "Damn!" And it's different nowadays because usually they're free refills. So, but when I was growing up, it wasn't free refills, and so like we'd have like mom would be like, "How much?" And it's crazy because my mom made enough. Like she made good money, and so it didn't
Right.
matter. Like, but to her, it was like how much, and I would just like I'd be embarrassed. So then I was like I'd like drink it slowly, but no. Basically when I was growing up, it'd be like water and milk. And then pop
Yeah.
when if we went out to eat somewhere or went to somebody's house. But like when we had those Super Bowl parties, like my parents were watching the games, I was watching the game, but I'd like disappear and go to like the person's like ice chest where they had the pop, and I'd just be in love, man. It's kind of like my dad. We're gonna get a little off topic here, but like when we'd go to my dad's mom, like one time she was like, "Just open the fridge, honey. Don't ask," because they had tons of grandkids on my dad's side, and I'd open the fridge because I was always uncomfortable opening the fridge. I'd always ask. I was taught, ask
Yeah.
all the pop you could dream of, bro. From Mountain Dew to Diet Coke to Diet Pepsi to Sunkist, any pop, Dr Pepper, anything like that. So yeah, it was really really crazy. And hold up, Little Red has never watched a Super Bowl. How do you know so much about the NFL, but you've never watched a Super Bowl?
Yeah, sounds like a troll to me, but troll.
I believe her. Maybe she gets bored. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to answer that for me, Little Red. You always in our
Yeah.
broadcast, and you're always chill as heck. Um, and obviously I made you a mod for that reason too. But you've really never watched a Super Bowl. Like, are you? Oh, okay. She said Madden and her father taught her everything she knows. Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your dad must have been a good history buff then on it. That's fair. That's really fair because you
Yeah.
learn stuff from your family lots of times. What about you, Trey? You got a favorite Super Bowl memory, or are they all Patriot wins?
I believe it or not, one of my favorite Super Bowls was actually the one where I think it was Super Bowl 42. It was the one between the Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know if you remember that one,
Oh yeah, yep, yep.
but
You know what? You know what? That's one of them too. That was a really good game. I believe Ben Roethlisberger threw it into the corner of the end zone to
so,
number 10. I'm forgetting his name. Oh,
Santonio Holmes.
yep.
Yeah.
Basically a picture perfect throw.
Yeah, it was a good throw, and then you had that one play, where it was like the end of half, and then Ben Roethlisberger threw a pick to a D lineman, and then the D lineman ran it all the way back for 99 yards to end the half. So
Wasn't that Kurt Warner?
yeah, that was Kurt Warner. He was the
Okay.
quarterback
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah, yeah. Kurt Warner for Arizona. Okay, yeah. Little Red said basically that her dad taught her everything that she knows about football history. So that's what's up, Little Red. That's pretty cool. You should still watch the Super Bowl. But I like to watch the Super Bowl because I like to eat it, eat food. The
Yeah.
game's cool.
So so if you were in charge, if you could, like if you were in charge, who would you have perform at the Super Bowl halftime show? If you could choose like
Um,
anybody.
that'd be really hard. That's really hard to think.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Whitney Houston was really, really good.
Yeah.
Um, damn, I don't know, bro. That's really tough because
Yeah.
you got so many people. Like, it depends on what you want to hear and listen to.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it is hard. Like I don't really know who I would pick. I think that Bruno Mars is a pretty good performer. I think Bruno Mars is pretty good,
No, yeah, he's definitely pretty good.
but were you watching? I think it was Justin Timberlake and
Yeah, Janet
Jan
Jackson.
yeah yeah
Yeah,
yeah
yeah, I saw that live.
yeah.
I
I
still,
don't under
what's
I don't
that?
understand. I was just saying I don't know why people make such a big deal about that. Like because it was shocking when it happened, but like you know what I mean? Like
Well, I mean, because for that moment, it was pretty
yeah.
pretty out there, but I still think it was pre-planned.
Oh, you do.
Yeah, I don't really buy into it that they didn't mean to. I just don't buy it. I think they meant to. I think then when a lot of people are like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, it was an accident, whoop de whoop. And like, sure, like people like to see stuff, but like, I don't know, that wasn't the time or place in my opinion.
Yeah, that was because that happened a while back, but I still see videos like apparently people like some 10 odd years later apparently it's still like kind of a big deal. So
I think it's because that's like the biggest shocking moment of Super Bowl
yeah.
that just randomly happened. And what's funny is how big the Super Bowl has like grown. Like if you watch like history of the Super Bowl, the first few years it was nothing. It was absolutely nothing, and
Yeah.
it carried on for a while, and then all of a sudden, I feel like in the '80s and '90s, it was when it blew up. Yo, Little Red, you say get Vanilla Ice up on there, let him hit his one hit song, Ice Ice Baby. But yeah, Vanilla Ice. I mean, dude, he was so mad for a while. about people like rapping that song at him, and now he's cool with it. And I've noticed, you know what? I've noticed a lot of actors and actresses and musicians get pissed for a while about like a song that made them or a show that made them, like Harry Potter. Dan, what's his name? Radcliffe. Daniel Radcliffe. Is that his name? I think so. From Harry Potter,
Yeah.
he used to drink all the time because he was depressed because everybody called him Harry Potter. Bro,
Damn.
I would love it. Like, it's not like Harry Potter was a
Yeah.
dork. Like, Harry Potter was like the greatest wizard of all time. So even if like people are making fun of him because they don't watch wizards and stuff, he can still be like, "Yo, everybody knows who I am. I made like $50 million from it. Call me Harry Potter. I don't care." But it's funny, but it's true. A lot of people feel that way though.
Yeah. Um. What was I gonna say? Kind. Yeah. Kind of. Well, I was gonna say because Vanilla Ice didn't something happen to where like he had Ice Baby blow up, but you had someone else that owned like 50% of the royalties, and then I think didn't Suge Knight have something to do with the
Yo,
money
yeah,
of
the
that
Suge
song?
Knight, the music industry goon from the '90s and the 1990s, bro. He had a bunch of Bloods as his bodyguards.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But you got any more things to say, Trey, for this podcast?
Not really. I think we covered pretty much everything we need to talk about. So yeah, this is the West Coast Madden Podcast. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We will be back next Thursday around the same time. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna toss it back over to Shane to close us out.
All right, you guys. I appreciate everybody being in here. Just like Trey said, it's the West Coast Mountain Podcast. We will see you January 30th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, you guys be safe. Had a good time. Next week, come hang out when I stream for the Last Chance qualifier. I'll talk to you guys then. See you then.